floor today. Welcome back to the homestead. Back in the kitchen today, and yes, we are on the hunt for that perfect chocolate chip cookie recipe. In a previous video, we made 3 different recipes, which amounted to, if I remember correctly, 107 or 114 chocolate chip cookies. David's, the guys that David works with at work, they were all very, very happy. We sent in the majority of them there. And we found one that was okay, but it's still not the one I have in my head when I think of the perfect chewy chocolate chip cookie. Well, Grace found a recipe a few months back when I was in Florida, staying with my mom, and she made them, and Aiden didn't try them, but David loved them, and Grace loved them, and she says, Mom, why don't you try that one that I found? That was pretty good. I said, okay, so we are going to try the one Grace found. And hopefully this will be the last one. This will be the go-to, and I can get rid of all other chocolate chip cookie recipes in my binder. Grace is actually going to be the one mixing everything up. You'll hear me talking, but it's actually going to be Grace's hands that you see, adding all the ingredients to the bowl since she's already made these. This is a smaller recipe. This only makes 12 cookies or 9 large cookies, which that's perfect. I love that. A dozen cookies is plenty. It's also from the author called Pinch of Yum, and I will link the recipe down below for all of you to try this too. We're hoping this is the one. 4th time's a charm, right? So for this recipe, you'll need 8 tablespoons of butter, melted but not hot. A half a cup of sugar. We're using organic cane sugar. And she actually uses this in this recipe. And a 1/4 cup of packed light brown sugar. And we're going to get those all mixed up until they're combined and creamy. You're then going to add 1 egg and a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm sure we have more than a teaspoon here. Vanilla is one of those things that, you know, we use with love. I always add more than it says. And you're going to beat these on low until just incorporated, so just 10 or 15 seconds. It says if you beat the egg mixture too long, the cookies will be stiff. So we don't want that. So, okay, Grace, go ahead for 10 seconds. That was 15 seconds. So now we're going to add 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Very small recipe, but that's good. I guess sometimes you don't always want 40 cookies. Okay, you can give me that, or and 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we use the pink Himalayan sea salt. And we are just going to mix these till it just comes together. Again, we don't want this too stiff. And then we're going to stir in 3¼ cups of, we're going to use semi-sweet chocolate chips. It's a very soft dough. Grace has asked that I take over this part. So I'm using my medium cookie scoop, and we're gonna get these on here. It's a very soft dough, which I have very high hopes for. So I think Gracie might have just found the perfect recipe, but we'll save judgment for taste. Grace thinks she remembers getting more than 12 too, and this is the cookie scoop she used. So either they used an even bigger cookie scoop, think I'm gonna do these 3 over. I think they're just a tad bit too big. That's better. All right, so we already have 12. I easily have another 4 at least in there, so we're gonna get a few more than the recipe called for. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And Grace said that they didn't spread a lot. I'm curious because of the melted butter, but hopefully if they spread, it wouldn't be, I have enough space between them all that it won't be that much. So, okay, into the oven for 9 to 11 minutes. Definitely do not overbake these. It's in big bold letters, which you should never overbake cookies anyway, because, well, we don't like them overbaked. We like them a little softer. So I'm definitely gonna put them in for the 9 minutes and check on them. Okay, they just came out of the oven. 11 minutes. I checked on them at 9. They were not overbaked. They were still very much raw in the middle, but the recipe says when they're poofed and brown on the bottom, and Grace, you have a better angle than I. Is that brown on the bottom? Good. Okay, so we're gonna let them cool and then we'll try one. They smell amazing and they look very much like the ones I used to make. The Martha Stewart recipe that I loved that for some reason has stopped working for me. They look very much like that, so I have high hopes for this one. So the recipe says for at least 30 minutes to let them sit on the cookie sheet. That's a little bit different than typical recipes. Usually they'll tell you let them cool just for a couple minutes and then move them to a wire rack, but we're gonna trust the recipe, let them sit here for at least 30 minutes. We're not gonna wait 30 minutes to try one though. As soon as they're cool enough to try, we will try one. I got 4 more cookies in the oven going, so the boys will be pretty happy when they come home tonight to have some homemade chocolate chip cookies to snack on. So, okay, we'll see you back here when they're cool enough to try. Okay, so the cookies are cooled down enough and Grace and I are gonna try them. Grace is just gonna be off camera a little bit and I'll let you know what we think. Ready? Cheers! Very soft. Wow, that's a lot of chocolate in that one. Very chocolatey. I know what your brother's gonna say. Why couldn't you use the milk chocolate chips? Because I wasn't sure how sweet this was, but these totally could take milk chocolate chips. Very, very soft cookie. Not chewy. But Grace pointed out to me the recipe is called soft chocolate chip cookies, not chewy. They're pretty good. Grace is over here like, 2 thumbs up from Grace, yep. They're good. And I'll definitely make these ones again, but they're still not the one I'm looking for, Grace. Maybe it doesn't exist. Or, hold on, I probably have chocolate all over my face. Those ones I'm thinking of in the bakeries and stuff, who knows? Maybe they use like a cake mix on top. Like, you know, I'm finding out that a lot of those muffins and cakes and stuff, cookies, muffins, things, they're actually using cake mixes to make them first, or in addition to their recipe. So maybe that's why I can't get what I want, because I'm not going to do that. But nope, we're going to try. I'm going to try again. But this was definitely worth making, and I will make this one again. This one is delicious. I know David and Aiden are going to like them. They're not a hard cookie by any means. They're very soft and delicious. Not bad at all. So still on the hunt for that perfect chewy soft chocolate chip cookie, but this is a perfect soft chocolate chip cookie recipe, so I will definitely make this one again. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen again today, friends, as we are on the hunt for the perfect chocolate chip cookie. I will definitely leave the link for this recipe down in the description below so you can all try them. Definitely recommend them. These are delicious. Until then, take care, God bless, and we'll see you all soon.